Let's go to Savannah. Always lovely this time of year and every time of year. Let's go to Daniel in Savannah. He said, out of potential conference contenders, who has schedules that stand out on the easier side? Well, Georgia is the answer, Daniel. I got 5 of them, but Georgia is the answer. Stats and Info, or as you may know him, producer Jesse, tells me that Georgia plays one of the top 15 odds teams in the country to start the year. We're talking about the playoff odds. They play one out of the top 15. Everyone else in the SEC plays at least 3, other than Vanderbilt. Everyone else plays at least 3. Many of them, including Bama, play at least 4. Georgia plays 1. They miss all the top-end teams. They miss Bama, they miss LSU, they miss A&M from the West. Since they are Georgia, they don't play Georgia in the East, which is common sense, but a lot of people forget that. Their out-of-conference is bad, not all their fault. The SEC made them cancel the Oklahoma game. Where's the tough road spot? At Auburn and then at Tennessee towards the end of the year. There's no stretch. There's no stretch of games where you say, ooh, boy, Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, is that the stretch? That's about as manageable a tough stretch as you get in the SEC. So I'm going to go with Georgia. Michigan, absolutely horrendous schedule by anyone's standards. I don't know if you guys saw this. Okay, so we're not going to talk about it a lot. You know, Jim Harbaugh has decided to suspend himself the first 3 games of the year. Well, Michigan did. So Harbaugh is suspended the first 3 games of the year. They announced different head coaches for each game. They play East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. It's great. It's a good gesture. There is no shot in you-know-what that they'd be doing this if they had Texas in week 2 like they do next year. Their schedule is so light, they can just afford to sort of, spin the wheel and see where it lands. You're a head coach today. You're a head coach next week. Week 3, who wants it? Week 3, you can be a head coach. That's how big a joke the schedule is. So no team, if you look at the schedule here, there is no team with a preseason over-under win total above 7.5 that they play until at Penn State in November. Only Big Ten team with no Power 5 out-of-conference opponent. But that means there's no room for error. So, the trade-off for having a workable schedule is you better win all your games or you may need help. And that's fair. I think that's fair. UCLA out in the Pac-12. Now, remember, when we're talking about light schedules, it's light relatively speaking. So UCLA is one of the top 6 teams in the Pac-12. We've been talking about that for a while. There's like a 6-pack of teams near the top, and UCLA is one of them. The difference with them and the others is all the other 5 teams in that top 6, they play at least 4 of the other 5. Some of them play 5 of the other 5. UCLA plays 3 of the other 5. UCLA is at Utah early as well. Utah's got quarterback questions with Cam Rising. And also, UCLA plays 6 of the bottom 6 teams in the Pac-12. There's no Washington there. There's no Oregon there. I'm not stroking my chin. I think I spit on myself. That's what I was doing. So, UCLA, not an easy schedule. It's easier than some of the competition out there. Oklahoma, we've been talking about them for a while. Got to repeat it one more time. Hold on, management texted me. Oh, just a pro wrestling quote. I introduced him to pro wrestling about 5 minutes ago, and now he can't get enough of it. So Oklahoma, they don't play Kansas State. They don't play Texas Tech. They don't play Baylor. They got an easy non-con because they had their game with Georgia canceled. Not their fault. No one's blaming you, but it is what it is. They don't have a Power 5 out-of-conference opponent, but they do play SMU in week 2. I asked our model, what do we think about SMU at Oklahoma? The model thinks it's under a 2-touchdown game. So very competitive. Rhett Lashley and company out there doing big things in the portal. Let's keep an eye on that game. Oklahoma plays 7 of the bottom 8 teams in terms of preseason odds in the Big 12. Again, that's not scientific. It's not the end of the world, but it is a metric that we like to follow around here in lieu of a better one. Louisville. I was on ESPN Radio in Louisville yesterday, and I was asked, what is a dark horse team out there? What's a team that maybe you think could be sneaking around late in a conference title picture that no one expected? And it just so happened I was on in Louisville, but my answer is Louisville. I probably sounded like a homer, but that's not the case. I promise if it would have been Tucson, Arizona, I would have said, why isn't it pronounced Tucson? And then I would have said, hey, watch out for Louisville. Those would have been our two topics of conversation out there. Look at the schedule for Louisville. There's no Florida State. There's no Clemson. There's no North Carolina. They avoid the top 3 teams in the conference. They play 6 of the 7 bottom teams in the conference. They do face Notre Dame. They get them at home, though. And Jeff Brom, new head coach here, you got a lot of the sneak attack, surprise angle kind of fog, kind of mist around them. Their over-under win total is 8.5. It's not because they necessarily equate to other 8-win caliber teams. It's because this schedule is secretly really workable. If Clemson had this schedule, if Miami had this schedule, there'd be a lot more being said about it. It's Louisville, though, kind of an anonymous program nationally, and that's why people aren't picking up on it.